John Muir said that the clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness. And part of that is the sky, it's the stars, it's seeing the Milky Way glistening at night, it's seeing the clouds breaking and Jupiter shining down brighter than you've ever seen any star before. The sky begins at your feet. And for me on the trail, that's exactly true.
So the purpose of this trip was to come out, leave the city, leave the busy life in Atlanta, constantly being on our phones, avoiding traffic, and come out here to the wilderness area up in North Georgia and look at the stars and gain more knowledge. Here today we have Adam, who is an artist and muralist. Also Liz, amazing, very, what was the word we used, whimsical. We have Paula, she's an athlete, hardcore, a ball of energy that's fun to be around. We all came out here to the Appalachian Trail with Tyler, who is an astronomer. We just wanted to get away from the city and check out the stars and learn a whole bunch from Tyler because he just schooled us on everything.
Einstein says that energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. So supposedly you could take energy, which is light.
My dad and my mom come from a small town in Ecuador in the Amazon called Sucua, and they spent majority of their time outdoors. And so when I tell my dad, like, hey, I'm gonna go camping, he's like, you're gonna go sleep on the floor? Like, I got you a bed.
I try and tell my mom, like, hey mom, I'm going on this backpacking trip, and she's like, what does that even mean? So having to even define what backpacking is to someone like my mom, it's kind of culture shock for her.
I had this group of friends that were Latinos. I would always be like, oh yeah, let's go hiking, and they're like, why? Why would I want to go out and be like, there's nothing to see there. It's not something that is taught, and it's not something that they're used to. They don't really understand what it can do for you until they get out here. Things that are beautiful don't come easy.
How's the mountain treating you so far?
It's leaving me breathless, that's for sure. I like hikes like this where it like pushes you to your limits because I feel like in certain areas in life, you're not like the strongest. This is kind of like proof that I can do something and be strong about it.
Hiking itself physically exhausts me, but then once you finally get to the top, having that feeling of exhaling and just like catching your breath, letting your heart rate go back down, and then just listening to the sound, it's therapeutic. Anytime you look out and see so much land and all these trees and how much is actually out there,
Yeah.
it just makes your problems feel so small.
Oh, that must be Saturn right there?
And just tap that, click it, and it will stabilize the image.
All right, here I go. Wow!
Those are 3 of Jupiter's moons.
You can see the moons with those things?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Those are the moons.
Yeah.
Believe it. Hiking with Tyler has been really fun. I honestly was very nervous meeting him because I was like, okay, well, here's a stranger and he's an astronomer and he's like this intelligent guy who's out there. So, and like, he's really funny. He's hilarious. Totally not what I expected at all.
When he's telling you about why the Milky Way looks the way it does and why there's this dark shroud right between the brightest part, that's amazing to me.
As an astronomer, I love it when the sky evokes awe and questioning. It broadens people's horizons to more than just themselves, their problems, their country, their world. It makes them a part of the universe. Benton Mackay, back in the 1920s, when he first proposed the idea of the Appalachian Trail, he spoke about cities spreading outwards to expand up until they reached the mountains. And so for that reason, we needed to protect a trail, a path that people could get away to and experience that natural world, the way the world was supposed to be. And that if we didn't make that concerted effort, the cities would overtake it and it would disappear and we would lose that chance forever. And that's what we're looking to continue here, is to find those places where that development, that encroachment needs a boundary to just push back and say, no further right here. Let us have this, and let us keep this memory of the world that was, both by day and by night overhead as well.
Luckily, I live right outside of Atlanta, so I get to see like 4 really bright stars, which I learned one was Jupiter yesterday. But apart from that, it's nothing like we saw here last night.
Being here last night and looking up and seeing like the actual clouds of the Milky Way and seeing the entire constellations line up, like it doesn't compare.
The Appalachian Trail, it's more than just a 4-foot wide trail. It's the landscape to either side. Here in the eastern United States, there are cities as far as the eye can see. The lights from these towns blending one into the other all the way past the Mississippi. But the Appalachian Trail preserves this natural landscape. We need to preserve it at night as well. Because the wonderful thing about the night sky is that when you see it in all of its glory from these dark locations, there's this sense of awe that comes over you, this realization that there's a larger universe, a larger horizon that extends beyond the mountains, beyond our planet, and that we're a part of that. When you feel that sense of awe, well, it's awe that brings us to the mountains, to the valleys, to the trail in the first place. And so we need to do what we can to preserve that for those next generations. Because when we experience awe, well, we become better people. We realize there's something more than just us.